Let us take a look how we go about finding the factorial of a number. Let us say I have a number like 4. So the 4 factorial is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is easy in maths, but in programming, you cannot do this in a single statement. What really happens is you have to first multiply 4 with 3, which becomes 12. Then multiply 12 with 2, which becomes 24. And then multiply 24 with 1, which remains 24. So in order to solve this particular problem, we need to understand what are the memory locations required. I require one memory location called as fact with the initial value 1. I'll tell you why it requires the initial value 1 once you're doing the testing. And I need another variable called as n, where you are going to read the number whose factorial is to be calculated. In this case, it happens to be 4. So 4 happens to be n whose factorial is to be calculated. So the way you got to do about this is keep multiplying fact with n and keep reducing n by 1 at every stage, as long as the value of n is greater than 1, because there is no point multiplying fact with 1 because it's going to remain the same. First, let's take a look at the flowchart and then let's proceed how we go about testing it and understanding the logic a little better. So as I told you, we need to have first a memory location or a variable called as fact with the initial value 1. Now once I have this, I need to ask the user to enter a number whose factorial is to be calculated. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to say read and n. So user here is going to enter a number whose factorial is going to be calculated. Now you have to ask yourself a question. How long should you keep multiplying factor with n? So you're going to get the factorial by multiplying factorial with n, then n minus 1, n minus 2, all the way till as long as n is greater than 1. So I need to multiply factorial with n as long as the value of n is greater than 1. So I ask the question, is n greater than 1? This may be true or this may be false. Alright, this may be true or this may be false. Let's not worry about the false case. Now let us say the value is 4. 4 definitely is greater than 1. So what I am going to do here is I am going to say fact is fact multiplied by n. Okay, I am multiplying it with the number. Now next time I need to multiply fact with 1 less than n. So what am I doing here is I am reducing the value of n by minus 1. So n from 4 becomes 3. This process should repeat as long as the value of n happens to be, this should go off, as long as the value of n happens to be greater than 1. So let's try to make sense of this by running through a few numbers. Okay, now the minute n becomes 1, I am required to print this fact. I'm going to print fact. All right, and then I am going to command, I'm going to stop. All right, I'm going to stop. So what we shall do is, in order to evaluate this, let's take a few numbers, or at least take one number and try to figure out. This is n, this is fact. Let us say n is 5. Okay, fact is 1, n is 5. 5 is greater than 1 is true. Fact is 1 into 5. So 1 into 5, fact becomes 5. Now n is reduced by 1 because next time I need to multiply the current value of fact with 1 less than value of n. So 4 is greater than 1 is true. Fact is 5 into 4. 5 into 4 is equal to 20. Now n is reduced by 1. It becomes 3. 3 greater than 1 is true. Fact is 20 into 3. So fact becomes 60. N is again reduced by 1. It becomes 2. I go back here. 2 is greater than 1 is true. Fact is 16 to 2 is 120 is my last number. N is 2. 2 minus 1, it becomes 1. 1 is greater than 1 is false. So I am printing fact. What will it print? It will print 120 on your output screen and then stop. What I would suggest is, in order to understand this logic, please go ahead and try to test it with 6, 7, 5, 4, 3, whatever number you like, and run through this logic step by step. As I told you, a few things you need to understand. Fact needs to be 1, the reason being the factorial of 0 is also 1 and the factorial of 1 is also 1. So suppose I enter the value of n as 1, 1 is greater than 1 is false, so it will print fact which happens to be 1. Suppose I enter value of n as 0, 0 is greater than 1 is false, 0 factorial also it will print as 1. So if you take a look at this particular logic, you are good to go. So again, what are the input required? I require a number. What do I need to do? I need to multiply fact with 1 less than this number every time as long as the number is greater than 1. So how long should I keep multiplying fact with n? As long as the value of n is greater than 1. And then I should come out and I should print the factorial. So if you understand this, you're good to go. Moral of the story, draw a table, run through the logic, practice a lot. That's how you're going to develop programming logic. In 2 years, if you ask me what is the most important thing, you need to be able to develop programming logic on your own. If you are doing that and you learn that, you can learn Java, C++, Python, C, any language really does not matter.